जानामि धर्मं न च मे प्रवृत्तिर् जानाम्य धर्मं न च मे निवृत्तिः त्वया स्वामिनः हृदि स्थितेन यथा नियुक्तो अस्मि तथा करोमि अंतराय तिमिरौघ शान्तये श्रेष्ठ शक्ति करुणारुणा प्रभम संतनोतु मुनिवृंद सेवितम भावगम्यम अनिशम शिवम महा करुणापूरित चित्तां सच्चिद्रूपां परां दिव्यां ब्रह्म सहचरीं तुर्यां बगलां शक्तिं प्रणौमि सौभाग्याम् यत् कारुण्यं वेक्ष भाव भरितं सानंद गीतं सतां तच्चिंता निपुणैः शुद्धमतयो ये साधकाः सज्जनाः तेषां लब्ध कृपा लवेन जननी बोधोदयो में अभवत् तदवृत्तं विनिमेय सांप्रत महं तोषं परम प्राप्तवान्. Namaskar to samast Sahayogis. As last week we started the discussion on Anavaopaya, so today also that Anavaopaya of Shiva Sūtra would be continued. And we have seen that there are 5 principal upaya which have further been divided into 8 by Mahameshwaracharya Venugopti ji. Uchara Karan Dhan Varna Sthan Prakalpanai Yo Bhavet Sa Samavesha Samyak Anav Uchyate. This is as per Sri Malini Vijayottare Dutiya Adhikare. Now the thing is that discussion would be so from this Nartak Atma. This is the sutra which was taken up last week also, but this sutra is connected to a kind of sadhana. This is a sadhana specific sutra, and that is buddhi related sadhana, means dhyan specific sadhana. The dhyan specific sadhana is related to buddhi. So this Nartak Atma here means your Jiva Tattva. Your Jiva Tattva revolves around in 3 states, that is Jagrat, Sapna and Sushupti. And as it wills or dances between 3 states, it is called as Nartak. Now the question is, if the Jeev means our soul which is covered in the samskars or the our karmas, our karma is called as Jeev. So if such a Jeev is dancing between Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti, so where is that theater in which this show is going on? So it is said that Rangah Antaratma. So Antaratma or Jagat Guru Paramatma means that Sukshma Jeev. So Jeev is not the real Swarup of Atma Tattva, that is Atma. So all this is happening on the platform of Atma only. And that Atma is just silent and inert. It is not awakened. When the Atma would become awakened, Jivan Mukti would happen or Mukti would happen. So that Atma is in Sushupti Avastha, you shall say. It is in some Jad kind of state, and not actually Jad, but it is inert, I shall say. So, and it has, as it is inert in its nature, so on that platform only the role play of a Jeev happens, where it means dances between Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti states. And then when we have a dancer, we have a theater, then we should have a spectators also. So who are spectators? So it is said that Prekshakani Indriyani. So senses of organs are viewers. The senses of organs only are the viewers. There is nothing else. There is no one else who is viewer. Your senses of organs only are observing all these things. Means how it is happening. If suppose you say, okay, suppose you eat something. So your brain has come to that state. You are dreaming something. Your brain has come to, so antar ka varan, antakarana, bahishkaran, all these are active. Your brain is active. So even if senses are not directly active, suppose in dream you have seen something beautiful. So, and you want to touch it. So your touch sense would be active at that time, no matter whether you have touched or not. Because in the dream, when you've seen very good cloth or something very good and you want to touch it, okay, so that touch, senses of touch would become active, no matter they have no matter your body is able to touch it or not, but the senses would become active. So the thing is that in that manner, even in Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, all these states, your senses of organs only would become spectators. They would observe all this dance happening on the theater, which is Antaratma. Now what to do? All this is game of Dhi, means buddhi, that brain. Okay, Dhi means buddhi. So in general, in layman term, I'm using brain, the word brain here. Brain picture is also there. So Dhi is something, buddhi is something which is above brain. No, brain is mastishka, something else. Okay, so buddhi is essence of that brain, that essence of brain. So, but I have generally used brain because it is simple to understand. So Dhi vashat sattva siddhi. So while thinking on the tattva of that buddhi, so that parabodh, while contemplating on that parabodh, the original essence of buddhi, means while contemplating on the fact that all the objective and subjective existence are are nothing but a display of immorus of Parameshwar, and Parameshwar himself is that Parabodh who is displaying them, and then he is enjoying all of them. You may not, we may not be able to observe every single aspect of this world, means even in light spectrum also we see that, we know that ultraviolet and infrared rays are not observed by us because they are beyond our sight of vision. We can only see the seven colors with pure, okay, violet, indigo, blue, green, orange, and red, of that. But infrared and ultraviolet cannot be observed by us, but that parabodh can observe that thing. That parabodh can observe that thing. So the fact is that, so we have to contemplate, we have to put there is specific sadhana vidhis, because that is sadhana part. I'm not taking up that here, and here the buddhi part means dhyan. Specific sadhana of Anavaopaya is mentioned here, and then its attribute would also be told. So that dhi tattva becomes, when you contemplate consistently on that dhi tattva, what happens? That sat cures. That sat tattva means, sat means sat rajtandra, sat cures means slowly sat would be cure, and after that parispand would happen, and that spand only is siddhi. So it is very simple thing which is happening here, means consistent dhyan when would be there. So in between the gaps of those dhyan, that Shuddha Samvid would cure, and that Shuddha Samvid, continuity of Shuddha Samvid would, when happens, Sattark would cure. So that only is here, means the result of Anavopaya is Siddhi of Shaktopaya. The result of Anavopaya is not direct Siddhi of Anupaya or Shambhu, means Nirvikalpa Avastha is not the result of Anavopaya. The result of it is Shaktopaya. So that what will happen? Spandan would happen. That was Spandan only Siddhi. So Shuddha Samvid would cure. And then what will happen? Siddha Swatantra Bhava. When the yogi would become Siddha in that state, he would attain the sovereignty, Swatantra Bhava. He would attain the sovereignty. Means his body would his brain would always be in the state, in a state where he would be beyond joy and sorrow, hot and cold, or good or bad, etc. It would be free, Swatantra, sovereignty, Swatantra. It would become Swatantra, independent. Yatha tatra tatha anyatra means, if suppose he, the way he is in one situation or one place, same way he would be in other situation, other place, and behave in the same manner only. There would be no change in his behavior. His behavior would be same. There would be no change in his behavior. So now the results of this, because see that Nartak Atma and Rangantar Atma has some sadhana based things. Those sutras reveal some sadhana aspect. Sadhana aspect cannot be discussed openly, so only Siddhanta Paksh is told here, and the hint is given that sadhana aspect is there, and buddhi based sadhana is there. So once it is accomplished, so what will happen? So all those discussions are now on. So it says that yatha tatra tatha anyatra means whatever is present here, that only is present there also. Whatever is present here, that only is present there also. That is mentioned. It means he would not change as per the situations. Now what shall be done at this state? Now what shall be done? So bijavadhanam. So that seed which is source of origin, you means, suppose you have reached, so this is not the complete state. This is not the complete state. So the complete for this purpose is because complete maturity in sadhana purti means completion of sadhana has not happened. So what shall be done by a yogi who has reached to this level? This is a specific level which is mentioned here. So what he shall do? So bijavadhana means he shall continuously be one pointed towards that source of origin. That source of origin, that Parameshwari Parabhattarika or Parameshwar Shiv, from whom all this creation has come into being. From whom all this creation has come into being. He shall continuously think upon, be one pointed or focused on that. आसनस्थः सुखे हृदय सुखम हृदय निमज्जति. So when the continuous one pointedness on that beach would happen, what will happen? Yogi means even in the state of as means asan, resorting in such a state, asanastha means in that state, the state which he has attained by nartakatma sadhana, nartakatma based sadhana, the state we has acquired by the state by practicing nartakatma based sadhana, and then bijavasthapanam means continue one being one pointed, continuously having one pointedness on that seed. What will happen? The yogi will be unified with the heart, which is parasamvid. Means bijavasthapan means parasamvid. So that heart is parasamvid. So hriday bij, that in Shri Shri Paratramshika we have seen that hriday bij is that heart. That means heart has two meanings there. One heart is well known. I am not discussing that. We already know what is the meaning of hriday and trikmat. And then second heart is that parasamvid, that hriday mantra. So that हृदय पारमेश्वरी para bhatta, that anuttar bhattarika, unification with her happens. Now what happens? Swamatra nirmanam apadayati. What happens? From Anavaopaya yogi rises to Shaktopaya, and then from Shaktopaya he reaches to yogi in Shambhavopaya and develops Swamatra, means he can by this chit buddhi kriya, by this process of buddhi, where he has applied buddhi. This because dhyan is buddhi based. So while applying this buddhi, what he has acquired? He has acquired the chitta based sadhana. He has acquired chitta based sadhana. Oh, he sorry. Swamatra means his chitta has become chittitattva and means nirvikalpa avastha, and chitta has become purna shuddha, and by that he has realized his swa. Swamatra means he has realized his original self. Swa means original self. Swa here stands for self. So he has realized his original self, and then in that state, when you realize the original self, there is no competition at all. And when there is no competition at all, then it is nirvikalpa avastha. Vidya avinashe janma vinasha. Now what is that? When that vidya which you have acquired, means that shuddha vidya, which you have acquired, and it becomes firm and becomes sattark. And now what will happen? Janma vinasha means the agyan, because janma means transmigrations are dependent upon agyan, and that agyan only is root of that transmigration. So here by janm, here that agyan is pointed out. So that agyan which is source of rebirth, it gives the joy and sorrow etc decays. So when Shuddha Vidya Sattar cures in yourself, that agyan which forces you to stay in the state of joy and sorrow reduces. Okay, that decays. Then what happens? Now yogi is made alert. When Sattark has been acquired, and in this state, yogi has been made alert. You might have seen that there are various Siddhi yogi. You might have heard about various people. Okay, he was Siddhi yogi, and all of a sudden you would see that he is found guilty of some illicit activities or something like that. What happens? After certain state, even in biography of Siddha Mahapurushas, you might have studied that one rishi was doing tapasya in forest. All of a sudden, some yoginis came and they tried to lure him. Then devtas came, danavas came, all those things came. So what is that? So that is explained here. Kavargadishu maheshwaradya pashumataraha. Actually, our Ashtamatrikas are associated to Ashtavarga. Means A Varga, A, I, I, U is Mahalakshmi. Associated to Mahalakshmi. Ka Varga is to Brahmika, Ka, Ga, Ga, Anga. Cha, Cha, Ja, Ja is Maheshwari. Ta, Tha, Da, Dha is Kaumari. Ta Varga, Vaishnavi. Pa Varga is Varahi. And Sha Varga is Chamunda. Okay. So these Matrikas are Pashumata. Why they are Pashumata? Because they together form a Matrika Chakra. And these Ka Varga, Cha Varga, Ta Varga, Ta Varga, Pa Varga means in what is in means uh, in the continual form, I shall say, in like from R to Sha, even the continuous form, when it goes on, then Matrika Chakra is represents the creation. In this state, Matrika Chakra represents the creation, and in the reverse order, which is Vilom. In Vilomakram, what does it represent? It represents uh, Vilay, or I shall say Samhar. So Srishti and Samhar. So in this sequence, the sequence given here, Srishti Kram is given. So in Srishti Kram, what will happen? As and when you would go down, the matrikas associated to these means Tavark, Chavark, Tavark, Pavark, and Shavark, all these matrikas, what will they do? These matrikas would uh, uh, come up with their associated tattvas, and those tattvas of Ashuddha Adva would have some effect on you. Those tattvas of Ashuddha Adva would have some effect on you. So Ka, Prithvi Tattva, that way the continuity happens. So the tattvas would have some effect on you. So what will happen? So they try to lure, they try to bound again. So Kavargadishu Maheshwaradya Pashumatara. So what will happen when the yogi is submerging Swa Shuddha Vidya? Swa of Shuddha Vidya. What will happen? It the Shaktis, these Matrika Shaktis means Mahalakshmi, Brahmi, Maheshwari, etc. would become active to stupefy him. They would try to lure that yogi. Okay, so because as they stupefy the Pashu Pramatas, means Pashus, those who are not Dikshit or those who are very low level sadhaks, they are called as Pashu Mata. That's why they are mentioned here as Pashu Mata. So they try to lure you. So what you have to do, you have to be attentive. How to be attentive? Trishu Chaturtha Tailavad Asecham means in the three states, Jagrat, Sapna, and Sushupti. In Jagrat, Sapna, and Sushupti, you shall, the way in the lamp you see, how long would the lamp continue? The lamp would continue till the time you would keep filling in oil. Okay, keep filling oil in the lamp. Till that time, the lamp would be active. So same way in Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti states, you will have to continuously fill in your Turiya state of mind. Even if you are surrounded by Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, you have to fill that state in mind only, in chit only. You have to fill it by Turiya Avastha. You have to keep your chit in Turiya state only, even if you are in Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. So that only is mentioned Trishu Chaturtha Tailvadase Cham. So because this Dhyan sadhana is very basic sadhana, after that so many other steps are there by which completion of Anavaopaya happens. Buddhi is Bahya. Buddhi is extrinsic effort. Okay, and Prana is intrinsic effort. So Prana is higher level effort and Buddhi is lower level effort. Okay, so Buddhi is low because it is extrinsic. Some Dhyan etc. is extrinsic, means you have to see around like that. In Shambhavopaya, Dhyan state is different. In Shambhavopaya, Dhyan is different because their Buddhi and your Prana are not active. In Shambhavopaya, Buddhi and Prana are not active. So that's why in that case, what happens? In that case, in the gaps only, you have to keep your chit. You have to contemplate on the chit. Chit has to be contemplated. Chit has to be applied in Shaktopaya, but here the Buddhi has to be applied. That brain has to be applied. So okay, so brain has to be applied. So that is the thing here. And as in Shaktopaya, only Chit is applied. So Chit is associated. So what happens in that case? So Pran and Buddhi does not play any role in Shaktopaya. So that is the difference. Here in Dhyan and there in Dhyan, both the states are different. There also the Dhyan is very important. So Dhyan has to be kept between two gaps, ending of one process and starting of another process. Or even if it is continuous process, that Dhyan shall be your Chitta Tattva, the original essence of that Tattva. You have to contemplate the original essence of the Tattva. We shall contemplate. So that is the difference between Shaktopaya and the Dhyan and this Dhyan. Otherwise, Dhyan is there also, means it is mentioned also if suppose I will read that shlok also, uh, which talks about this thing. उच्चार रहितम वस्तु चित चेतसै विचिंतयन् Yam samavesham apnoti shakta swatra bhitiyate. Means without the in the absence of uchchar, chit shall do chintan. Means thoughtfulness shall be there of chit. If suppose you are continuously observing, then the thoughtfulness shall be there. But that thoughtfulness shall not have the application of buddhi and uchchar. Means pranavayu application shall not be there. So that is the thing. So this is the and after this, as this has stopped here, uh, just a minute. This is dhyan based sadhana, and then after it, magna swachitena pravishet. So in that case, what happens is magna swachitena pravishet mein turiyanand. Beta, jao. So you once you will have while resolving in turi avastha, you will have to give the thoughts of being there, means thoughts of your body, yourself, your physical self, that you have to give up. And by this, the buddhi sadhana stops, and then uchchar sadhana starts. And as uchchar sadhana is different sadhana, I will not take it up this week, because this buddhi sadhana is different and char sadhana is different, and that has different type flow. So that's why I would not start that. So that's why magna swachitten pravishet. So means while being dissolved in that turiya state, you shall enter in your chit and give up the thoughts of your body. Means you are this body, that thought shall be given up, and turi in turi state you shall always be dissolved. So that shall happen. And after that, what happens after that? Because once in turi state, your prana and apan would become stabilized. So from Niranand up to Jagdanand, some practice would start, which we have discussed in last week session briefly. So that would come up later on, and then there are further exercises which we would take up next time. So I would stop today's class here. Jai Mai Maharaj.
Pranam, Pranam Guruji, Pranam.
Namaste.
Namaste, Namaste.
Everyone. Pranam Giriji, thank you very much.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar ji.
Dhanyavad.
Do we have any time for some questions, or shall we leave it for next session?
We can have some questions.
Sure. So if anyone would like to unmute their mic, please go ahead and ask, please.
Hello. Namaste ji.
Namaste ji, namaste.
Namaste, namaste. Sir, actually, I have a doubt. Sir, here, this, once if you are in that state, the Atma will doesn't have any, this, all the malas will go off and like it becomes more pure, is it? Where it will not, once it's realized, it will become Shiva, or else it will if it has some shesh, will it actually continue in some other births also?
See, that's what I said. Means if suppose once Shuddha Vidya has been acquired, so Janma Vinasha Vidya, that sutra is also there, which we have just now discussed. So Janma Vinasha means the thought of me. Even suppose you take birth.
Okay.
When suppose someone takes birth, so he would take birth as a Jivan Mukta only. Means that Gyan would continue. Vidya Avinashe, Janma Vinasha means
Okay.
as that Vidya is considered, that Vidya is eternal. That Shuddha Vidya is Shiva Vidya. That Vidya which ascertains your Shivatva, your Shivahood. Once that Vidya is acquired, that Janma Vinasha means bonds of life and death would go away. And if suppose Parmeshwar wants you to take birth for the sake of social welfare, because in Marg it is said in Abhinav says that after earning all that, means after reading such a huge text and acquiring the siddhi, all that, what shall one do when one becomes Jivan Mukta? So he says that he shall do Lok Sangraha, means social work. So suppose Parmeshwar wants to send you for some social work, means to make other people also realize the Shiva Tattva. Like
Okay.
Siddha Mahapurushas taken Adi Shankaracharya, Vinogupta, all these took Sri Gurudev. So all these Siddha Purushas have taken birth from time to time, so that people may realize their real self and liberate from the world. So in that way, such person would take birth, not in normal manner.
Okay. Okay.
है ना? Because Atma Tattva, you that Atma Gyan would become Siddha.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
जी जी.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions, Giriji. So shall we conclude today's session?
Sure, I think we can conclude the session.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
अच्छा,
Jai Hind.
जय अम्बे.
Jai Ambe.
जय अम्बे.
Thank you. Thank you very much.